From people that won big and blew it all on drugs, to greedy people trying to keep all their winnings to themselves, we take a look at 10 stupid lottery winners. Number 10. AMERICO LOPES. In any case of breach of ethics, it's a safe bet that greed is involved somehow. Such is the case with AMERICO LOPES. This construction company worker was astounded when he won the lottery in 2010. He quit his job right away and never showed up again, claiming that he needed to have foot surgery. It doesn't really sound suspicious that a lottery winner wouldn't go to work anymore, but months later a lawsuit was filed against him by his co-workers. Apparently, AMERICO had not purchased the ticket on his own, but rather his co-workers had all pooled their money together to buy lottery tickets, and the winning ticket had come from one of these cash pools. Number 9. VIVIAN NICHOLSON. Anyone who hits it big on the lottery would love to spend more than they've ever spent in their life. In 1961, VIVIAN NICHOLSON from Britain made some very public statements that she planned to spend it all. Of course, nobody believed that she would actually spend it all. But, as luck would have it, she blew all of her millions in a matter of just a few years. Fancy clothes, fancy cars, fancy houses, fancy everything, without saving a single penny for a rainy day. Pretty soon, Vivian was unemployed, widowed, and alienated from all her friends. Number 8. William Bud Post. Bud Post's story is unfortunately not very uncommon for lottery winners. You hit it big, and family members you've never even heard of come out of the woodwork trying to claim the chunk of cash they feel they're entitled to. Post won $16.2 million in the lottery, the lucky guy. Then his brother tried to hire a hitman to kill him to get the money for himself. I mean, it didn't work, but still. His girlfriend sued him for some of his winnings and actually won. And then other brothers and sisters persuaded him to make terrible investments, to the point where he ended up $1 million in debt and had to collect Social Security checks just to get by before he died. Number 7. Jeffrey Dampierre. Jeffrey Dampierre was one of the nice guys. He didn't intend to blow all of his money on an expensive, overpriced lifestyle. He hit it big for about $20 million in the Illinois lottery, and instead of buying a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, he invested it in a gourmet popcorn store called Cassie's Gourmet Popcorn. We all know that no good deed goes unpunished, and unfortunately, Dampierre found this out the hard way. The greed got the best of his sister-in-law and her boyfriend. 7 years after his big win, they shot him in the back of the head with a shotgun and left him in the back of a van trying to take his money. It didn't turn out very well for them because they were caught, tried and convicted, and now will spend the rest of their lives in jail. Number 6. AHSOAK. AHSOAK won about $500,000 in the lottery and used it to benefit his nonprofit organization that aided victims of sexual abuse. Unfortunately, it was later discovered that AHSOAK was a sexual offender himself. It turns out that once in 1993 and once in 2000, he molested girls under the age of 13. Of course, no one was aware of this until he actually won the jackpot and the media started digging into his background. It wasn't legal justice that ended up getting the better of AHSOAK. He was actually attacked while walking down the street. He was hit repeatedly in the head with a pipe and ended up severely injured. Number 5. EVELYN Adams. You know the old saying, lightning never strikes twice. Well, the same can mostly be said about winning the lottery. If someone ever does win it, they never win it twice. This was not the case for EVELYN Adams of New Jersey. She won the lottery in 1985 and 86. Her winnings totaled about $5.5 million. Quick quiz, do you think she saved or invested any of her money? Good guess. She thought it would be a better idea to gamble it all away in Atlantic City. Now, 20 years later, you can still find her in New Jersey, just broke and living in a not-so-fancy trailer park. Number 4. TONDA LYNN. TONDA LYNN, a former Waffle House waitress, didn't think it would be much of a problem to hide her winnings from two of her waitress colleagues. Why would she want to do such a thing? The three of them had a verbal agreement that they would share the winnings if the winning ticket had come as a gift from one of the patrons of the restaurant. The key for TONDA LYNN was that verbal agreements related to gambling can't actually be used in court, so the case that her colleagues filed against her didn't hold water, and she was able to keep all of her winnings, minus court costs and lawyers' fees. Number 3. CALLIE Rogers. CALLIE Rogers was just a normal 16-year-old girl living in the UK. That is, until she won £1.9 million in the lottery. Now, we know what you're thinking. 16 years old, 1.9 million? How can someone that young be responsible with all that money at once? Well, it turns out you're right. Shortly after receiving her winnings, she went on a huge spending binge, blowing her cash on clothes and vacations and parties and even breast enhancements. Oh yeah, and cocaine. Can't forget about the cocaine. And cocaine is not so cheap either. And there was lots of cocaine. So it's no surprise why she finds her name on this list. Number 2. Janite Lee. In 1993, 52-year-old wig shop owner Janite Lee from St. Louis won $18 million. And at first, didn't have any unusual spending habits. Apparently, that much money started to burn a hole in her pocket. Either that or she was taken advantage of by several philanthropic organizations. There are records of donations to educational programs, political organizations, community service organizations, and more. While this sounds like a worthwhile cause for the money to be used, her spending went unchecked, and before too long, everything was gone and she had to file for bankruptcy. Number 1. Amanda Clayton. Amanda Clayton takes greed to a whole new level. This lottery winner was actually arrested for welfare fraud. That's right, she was collecting welfare checks when people started to notice some strange spending habits. It turns out she had $1 million already in her bank account. $1 million in your bank account makes you rich on just about everyone's scale. But to keep receiving welfare checks after you've won that much money is just absurd. And authorities didn't buy the story that she didn't notice that she was still receiving them. She eventually was sentenced to 5 years in jail, but ended up dying of a drug overdose.